A lovely good evening and a very warm welcome to our main news bulletin at 19:30 on Camnet TV. Let's look at some of the top stories making the news. The BUSOLI royal establishment in a land contestation with the Zambia army. MUMBWA man break into a woman's house with rape intentions. Government urged not to tamper with the Public Order Act. In our international headlines, Donald Trump allowed back on Facebook and Instagram. And in our sports, Copa Queens to participate in Turkish Cup next month. We have the details after this message.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each. And ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
To present the main news, my name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Residents of MUMBWA, Zambia's Zaire compound have appealed to the Zambia police to be protective in doing night patrols in the area. In an interview with Camnet TV News after they caught a suspect who allegedly broke into a woman's house at night and attempted to rape a woman, the irate residents have said they are now living in fear following the high number of strangers frequenting the area. Meanwhile, MUMBWA Ward Councillor Geoffrey Lubinda has called on residents to be on high alert, especially at night when there is power cut, as most criminals are taking advantage. We have more in this report.
Police have arrested a man suspected to be in his 30s for allegedly breaking into a woman's house of MUMBWA's Zambia Zaire compound. Now Mitembo, a victim, now narrates to Camnet TV what transpired.
Na mwandu wa mulungu nafa amvela kuti napunda uyu ndiye kwanza kutamanga atamange na mkonga futa bwagwe na mchidishi chamanzi ndiye kuchoka rubiro amba na utamanga time unachoka kubora pesa chani matropiko wake bado asoja time watakaza amene akamba amenenze nawo na beve babwera kubofunsa bane babanga bakabambana basosilipayo.
And Gilfas Wamba, a concerned MUMBWA resident, says he mobilized other people after a tip-off that the suspect was attempting to run away.
So ndiye wamene musuba, ndiye wamene matupasa information atangala kudown. So ndiye wamene toambila kusaki. Uyu muntu twamupeze zofuna kutaba. Aserusiwa mbasi. Wamene twamuserusa twapeza ati muno umankala ba foreigner bambili. Wamene maigoiko.
Others have accused the law enforcers of not being proactive.
Zambia Zaire wakapondo machiramo pete ambira kukopeka pemse tandizo kulika kapokora sibakunobwera uyu muntu tamukwira 16 hours baka this time sibakunobwera bafuna tishite bwani mtwiteko tapapa tamu Zambia Zaire bachiramo wakapondo usiku wose wakukopirikisha abantu kukotikenera manyuma kukopya tuwa pamukosi.
Meanwhile, Mupona Ward Councillor Geoffrey Lubinda observes that the rise in criminal activities is attributed to non-residents frequenting the area for business.
Right now, as I'm speaking, we have, the police has arrested someone who just entered into someone's house trying to rape a lady. But if we are lucky enough, the lady has identified this person. To my side, I'm just encouraging the community that these people are doing these things are not residential. Their residents are in Lusaka. They're just coming here to do business and also lobbying people.
Matthias Chewe, Camnet TV News, MUMBWA.
The BUSOLI Royal Establishment of Senior Chieftainess in Commissioner MUMBWA II in Chongwe District says it will stand its ground concerning land in MUMBWA village near Mikango Barracks, which has been disputed with the Zambia Army. Addressing the media Thursday, Her Royal Highness Princess CHOLERA Commissioner has also urged the Zambia police not to look too far in its investigations concerning land wrangles that occurred in the said village on Friday, 20th January 2023, stating thus they can find all the information they need at the Royal Palace in Chongwe. Zambia Police Assistant Public Relations Officer Godfrey Chilavi says the police service has arrested one person in connection with wrangles and has launched a manhunt for other suspects. Villagers of MUMBWA village in Chongwe district, supported by the royal establishment, are fighting running battles with the Zambia Army for land in the said village. We have more in this report.
Land wrangles have deepened in MUMBWA village of Njoe area near Mikango Barracks in Chongwe district, where villagers backed by the BUSOLI Royal Establishment of Senior Chieftainess Commissioner MUMBWA II have been fighting for land with the Zambia Army. According to the royal establishment, part of the village land was given to the Zambia Army in 1972, with one of the conditions being that the land should not be put on title as it was traditional land, and that the real ownership still belonged to the people of the village. The royal establishment says it is now surprised that the Zambia Army, led by Lieutenant Colonel Charles Mulenga, have come forward with a title deed for the same land and have even been demarcating the land. This confusion is what led to a wrangle on Friday, 20th January 2023, which saw the BUSOLI Royal Establishment, led by Princess CHOLERA Commissioner, confiscating surveying equipment that was found at the site and keeping it at the palace. This act was condemned by the Zambia Army in a press statement, indicating that Army surveyors went to survey the land, which is used as a trunk driving circuit for training armored tank drivers, and was being surveyed so that it is well marked and established for training. Princess CHOLERA Commissioner, who was addressing the media Thursday, has however disputed the title deeds, stating that these were fraudulently acquired and need to be investigated, as the royal establishment was not informed before the title was acquired.
We went to stop a criminal activities, illicit activity happening in our land, in our chiefdom. And this is God-given. We must fight for inheritance. This is our birthright, it's a land. So we went there. We grabbed the tools. There was kafwafwa. It was a hot pursuit. We were chased by the army. Our car broke down, and the fracas happened. The soldier, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Mulenga, who's in the forefront of this illicit activity that's happening there from 2014, when we first discovered about this. And it is the officer behind the creation of this title that they're claiming they have, which are illegal titles. Because in order to get a title in any royal establishment in the Republic of Zambia, one has to go through a process in which involves consultation with the royal establishment to get a consent in which you are allowed.
Meanwhile, BUSOLI Royal Establishment Land Tribunal Vice Chairperson Elijah Simbai has also spoken out.
In the new administration, we were sure that very soon a meeting by the service chiefs will be organized where we would sit and discuss this issue. That meeting has not yet happened. But in the background, people like Lieutenant Colonel Charles Mulenga, brandishing a certificate of title, product of disobeying a court order, are still entering the land and surveying to demarcate into plots. Our position is their entry into that land is an act of criminal trespass.
Headman Muzembela says over 500 people are at risk of being displaced in his village due to the land demarcation.
But chini dabusa kutinkale amirandi iwo vanabwera mu 1972 ife tinankhalapo kuchokera 1964 vakaunda vatenga independence vati vaame vanatipezapo so lero vamba kukamba kuti ni amirandi nanga ife kumene tizankhala kuti.
Meanwhile, the Zambia police says it has since arrested one person in relation to assault of 2 Zambia army officers and is still investigating the occurrence. In the meantime, the confiscated surveying equipment has been given back to the Zambia army after signing and committing that they will avail it to the palace at a meeting which is currently being planned by the palace and is to consist of concerned stakeholders. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Chongwe District.
Residents of Ngwerere Ward 22 in Lusaka's Garden Compound say they are plunging further into poverty every rain season due to the floods that continue to characterize the area every season. Speaking to Camnet TV News, some of the residents state that their school-going children are missing out on lessons as their school books have also been damaged in the rainwater that has flooded their homes. Meanwhile, a physical scientist, Chalwe Kasongo, says solving the problem of flooding in Lusaka needs strong leadership from the local authority, as there is need to replan most settlements to ensure that they have proper drainage systems while overhauling unplanned settlements. More in this report.
Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, is one of the places in the country with the highest number of unplanned settlements, with data from the United Nations UN indicating that 70% of people in Lusaka live in these places. This is mainly due to a boom in rural-urban migration over the years, as people have been leaving their villages in search of employment in the capital city. This led to the creation of settlements, which have today become large communities. A number of problems, however, exist in these places as they are not planned, and these problems include limited access to clean water, flushing toilets, as well as inadequate drainage systems. This means that every year, challenges of flooding in these areas is not uncommon, as there are no proper drainage systems. This is the situation which has affected residents of Ngwerere Ward 22 in Lusaka's Garden Compound, leading to them losing property worth hundreds of kwacha, food included, due to the flooding of their homes.
But now, imvula yalo kati mavuto kuno munyumba mulimanzi vana salane kuskuru ma blanket ya nana unga malasha kulipe na vochita pano so tingo kuti kapena mutitandizeko waboma tianga nene se vantu vanu kuno kivutika ndipo tavutikero mvula ivakapatika liko chitampo ndi chinthu chimodzi so that kuti tingaleko bwino.
Ni manzi sopana yatingenera tuka usiku tipeza manzi yangena mnyumba so kunganga nge kungana uku awo tiangane nkoni tagona mu manzi mwekwa chera so apa tipyanga so vimanzi mnyumba apa so tiangane nkoni tapapata nale so apa tizangena mu manzi yazaloka futi tigona manzi
uno manzi yatingenera bwere mtuoneko boma tangeta gona manzi yangena manyumba manzi via vonse vanana.
Meanwhile, Ngwerere Ward 22 Councillor Adrian Banda says the problem of flooding in Lusaka is something that needs the attention of the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU.
Almost 3 to 4 houses have been flooded, and we are on site to appreciate what is happening. We shall also take up a stance to report to higher authorities through the District Commissioner's Office to DMMU so that they can come to our aid as in Ngwerere Ward 22. As you can see, the family, they can't do anything to them. So the councillor need to come on board as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, in a phone interview, a physical scientist, Chalwe Kasongo, says there is need to overhaul unplanned settlements to ensure that these become well-established settlements. He, however, notes that doing so will require strong leadership from the local authority. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A youth-led non-governmental organization has urged the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to address the issue of mobile booths that were confiscated in Lusaka's Central Business District and other areas nearly 4 months ago. In an interview, Industrious Youth Executive Director Nature Ntakakuya says it is sad to note that these booths are still parked and have not been given back to the owners, and that there is still no clear communication on when they will be given back. Mr. Ntakakuya says holding on to the booths in hopes of the owners paying for their retrieval is tantamount to frustrating the owners, who are mostly youths, as they lost their source of income after the confiscation. He has therefore called for the way forward to be communicated and proper operating places to be assigned as one way of handling the unemployment crisis in Zambia.
We are promised to say they are going to find a permanent solution for the people who were affected. I'm sure until now the issue has died the natural death because no proper planning was done. And till date, the booths are still there. And those people, if I remember very well, we are told to say there will be a means which will be found for them to go. But people are still in the same place where they used to trade from, using other means. Meaning no solution has been found until date. And I did make a clear point to say these booths, they have been removed today. Does it mean to say the next target will be our mothers who are trending in the streets and we are yet to see it? So we don't know exactly the stance of the government here. And the government, the president, to give a directive to say first we should ask stakeholders before we remove these people. We should consult. Meaning he has sensed to say it is not a welcome move because people don't have enough a source of living.
The Ministry of Technology and Science says it is working towards boosting the capacity of the TVET institutions in order to accommodate youths, women and persons with disabilities in skills development training under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Ministry Assistant Director Skills Development Precious Lesulo tells Camnet News that in various constituencies it was observed that TVET institutions have limited bed spaces, workshops, lecture rooms and hostels. She says the ministry has committed to addressing the bottlenecks in accommodating people in TVET institutions. Meanwhile, the United Party for National Development National Deputy Youth Chairman Trevor Mwinde has advised youths in the country to take advantage of skills training opportunities being offered by TVET institutions under the Constituency Development Fund. Here is a report.
In the 2023 national budget, the government has increased the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to 28.3 million kwacha from 25.7 million kwacha in the 2022 national budget. And the Ministry of Technology and Science, in partnership with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, has been implementing the component of skills development training. Ministry of Technology and Science Permanent Secretary Brilliant Habenzo has urged citizens to take advantage of the skills training opportunities. He made the remarks when United Party for National Development Deputy National Youth Chairman Trevor Mwinde paid a courtesy call on him to understand opportunities that exist to safeguard the plight of youths under the ministry.
The government has put aside 28.3 million kwacha, and you can imagine that even the one that was there last year, the 25.7 million kwacha which had gone into consumption was not recorded by the treasury. It means that a lot of money which is actually sitting into these constituencies. What is important is to follow up, ensure that you've got a skill, ensure that everything that you need to have in place there, it is there, so that you are able to actually tap into that.
And Ministry Assistant Director, Skills Development, Precious Lisulo, tells Camnet TV News that they want to enhance the capacity of TVET institutions in order to accommodate more youths, women and persons with disabilities.
We have quite some good response in terms of the learners that have accessed skills development in our institutions. The only issue that I may talk of following the response we have had from the constituencies is that our institutions need to be beefed up in terms of capacity in terms of bed space, capacity in terms of workshops, capacity in terms of even the lecturers that are handling them, and also the hostels and classrooms. So that is an issue that the ministry is taking upon, and it's ensuring that we will get into issues of rehabilitations of our facilities that we have, so that we can accommodate all these.
Meanwhile, government has handed over various projects amounting to about 1.8 million kwacha implemented using the Constituency Development Fund to the community in Msanzala constituency of Lusangazi district in Eastern Province. The handover projects include 33 boreholes rehabilitated at a cost of over 1.2 million kwacha, rehabilitation of a staff house at Chikuse Primary School at a cost of 95,172 kwacha, and rehabilitation of 1x3 classroom block at Kalumbi Primary School that cost 495,000 kwacha.
They are here to witness the handover ceremony of constituent development projects. The projects were decided by community members themselves. Dotted around the newly district of Lusangazi are results of empowering citizens with the power to determine the development priorities in their communities that has come with the expanded Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Msanzala Member of Parliament Elias Daka joined Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole to hand over some of the CDF projects implemented in the district.
This is just one of the 15 1x3 classroom block that we are working on as Msanzala constituency and Lusangazi district. On top of that, we have done 33 boreholes which have been drilled and they are working. People have benefited from there. And we have also 1x2 classroom block, about 10 of them which are under construction, just almost the same stage of what we have seen here. Now we are going to Chikuse, where we have also rehabilitated the teachers' houses, and there is another project there where the roof is blown off. So we have just engaged a contractor to work on it.
Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole has commissioned these facilities to represent others that have been brought to life using the 2021 and 2022 Constituency Development Funds.
We're grateful that you have given us an opportunity to come and inspect and see for ourselves, which they call verification of what the CDF has done. This shows that with the community, they are able to understand and identify their needs, irrespective of who we are in terms of our political affiliation. That is irrelevant. What is important is that we are Zambians. Look at the statistics, they speak for themselves. It's not easy. From last year to date, you are saying 10 1x2 classroom blocks at the same stage, 33 1x3 classroom blocks, and the 33 boreholes. That's not a mean achievement. Besides, we are also continuing to rehabilitate. We have seen the broken down infrastructure.
The traditional leadership also witnessed the symbolic commissioning events.
Ichi chintu chataonole boma yakutichitira tichitole kuti tichisunge bwino osati kuti niva boma ni vani so lokasamalidwe kaivi vintu vuwela tento visamala kuti ni changu boma nine. Why?
And as a school, we are very much grateful with the construction which is going on, because since the school was established, we have just been using a 1x3 classroom block, which has been giving us a hassle in terms of class allocations and even following the timetable.
The permanent secretary, who was accompanied by the deputy permanent secretary and other district officials, also inspected the construction works at Kalumbi Primary School and Chikuse Primary. Here, the area member of parliament also inspected the deplorable state of some bridges. Sambo David.
National Democratic Congress President Saboy Imboila has urged the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security to speed up the enactment of the Public Gatherings Bill into law. Earlier this month, the Zambia Law Development Commission handed over the Public Order Act, now renamed as the Public Gatherings Bill, to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And Ms. Imboila says the bill has progressive clauses and is confident that government will not alter the document before it is enacted. And commenting on the same development, social scientist Innocent CHOLERA says the Public Gatherings Bill, once enacted into law, will create a level political playing field. Here is a report.
Even before Zambia got its independence, the Public Order Act has been what many stakeholders in the electoral process term as retrogressive, because successive governments have been using it to disadvantage opposition political parties and critical civil society organizations. The Zambia Police, as an implementing entity, has been in the past accused of being abused by politicians to shrink the civic space and excite the sitting government. However, earlier this month, the Zambia Law Development Commission handed over the Public Order Bill, now renamed as the Public Gathering Bill, to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, pending cabinet approval for tabling in Parliament. And National Democratic Congress President Saboy Imboila tells Camnet TV News that the bill has progressive clauses.
I attended various meetings on behalf of the NDC for the Public Order Act. You know, we had meetings, I think I remember Mlungushi, Sandy's Creation, Legacy Lodge, various, by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Law Development Commission, various NGOs. They did that. So we did engage and we discussed as politicians, as NGOs, the church were brought on board and everything. So for me, the only thing that I want to see is what exactly is there on the final print, because sometimes we discuss things, maybe the following day you find that certain things have changed, and of course we'd make those corrections to say yesterday, this day and this day, this is what we discussed, so this is what we want to see. Whether we like it or not, the Public Order Act, the people that are adversely affected are the politicians. Today, if you're a church and you say I want to have a church gathering, there won't be a problem with the police. If you're a school, church gathering, even the media, there won't be a problem. If you're a politician and you say you want to have a rally, they're going to stop you from having that. So you find that even a protest or whatever it is, so you find that a lot of things that various stakeholders and politicians brought about, it's because of what they are going through.
We also spoke to social scientist Innocent CHOLERA, who believes that the Public Gatherings Bill, once enacted into law, will create a level political playing field.
This archaic law, it has been in existence from, as Elia said, from the time the imperialists started taking care of this country. And of course, by this able government to think of ensuring that they amend on or repeal it completely, then a new law which should be in tandem or in line with Part 3 of the Constitution, which deals with the Bill of Rights. I think this is a very much welcome move by His Excellency our Republican President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema with his government. And since now the Law Commission has submitted this draft bill to Minister of Home Affairs, what we expect now, the Minister of Home Affairs, together with, of course, the Attorney General and everyone who is charged with such an activity, to ensure that they expedite it to be taken now to Cabinet and later be taken to Parliament, so that this law become, of course, an ideal law which is going to stand a test of time.
Rights activists feel the Public Gathering Bill, once enacted, will strengthen Zambia's democracy. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The Council of Churches in Zambia, CCZ, has called on the Zambian government to ratify the prohibition of nuclear weapons treaty in order to protect the nation and the world from the deadly threats that nuclear weapons possess. CCZ General Secretary Father Emmanuel Chikoya says the Council is of the view that only peace will bring about peace. Father Chikoya says the Church has a corporate and personal responsibility to ensure that the world has sustained peace. The Council of Churches in Zambia has since commended the United Nations UN for developing the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons.
The Council of Churches in Zambia commends the United Nations for developing the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons, the TPNW. In this regard, the Council of Churches in Zambia calls upon the government of the Republic of Zambia to ratify and domesticate the treaty. CCZ believes prevention is better than cure and calls for the government to protect the nation and the world at large from the deadly threats that nuclear weapons possess. It is our considered view and informed view that only peace will bring about peace. It is our considered and informed view that only peace will bring about peace. We have a corporate and personal responsibility, and indeed national responsibility, to ensure that we have sustained peace in the world. It does not matter how small in terms of being a superpower we are. Every effort and every decision by every country, no matter how small or big it is, will count.
The January food inflation rate has increased by 83%, the highest in over 11 months. Addressing journalists in Lusaka Thursday, Zambia Statistical Agency ZAMSTAT's interim statistician General Mlenga Msepa says the food inflation rate increased from 0.5% recorded in December 2022 to 2.8% recorded this month. Mr. Mlenga says price increases was recorded for food items such as cereals, mealie meats, fish and cooking oil. Meanwhile, the country annual inflation rate has declined as it records a trade deficit of 0.5 billion kwacha. Details are in this report.
Zambia is currently grappling with a high cost of living, which has seen the price of essential commodities such as mealie meal, cooking oil, charcoal, among other things, increase. The Zambia Statistical Agency ZAMSTAT says the monthly food inflation rate has increased by 83% in January of 2023 from 0.5% recorded in December of 2022 to 2.8% recorded in January of 2023. ZAMSTAT interim statistician General Mlenga Msepa says the 2.5% increase in the monthly food inflation rate is the highest in 11 months and has been attributed to the increase in price of food items such as cereals, mealie meal, meat, fish and cooking oil.
And 2.8%, if you look at the graph for food inflation, which is blue, this is perhaps the highest we've recorded since February 2022. And we've actually said that there is pressure, for example, on a monthly basis, where you see some prices actually edging upwards. However, the non-food inflation remained unchanged at 1.1%.
And despite the food inflation rate for the month of January increasing the highest in 11 months, the country's annual inflation rate has reduced by 0.5% from 9.9% recorded in December of 2022 to 9.4% in January of 2023. Inflation rate measures how much more expensive a set of goods and services has become over a certain period, usually a year.
With these movements in food and non-food inflation to 11.6% from 11.9% for food and 6.4% from 7.3% for non-food inflation, then what was the outcome in terms of the annual inflation? So because of that base effect related to those food items there, inflation slowed down to 9.4%. From 9.9%.
Meanwhile, Zambia recorded a trade deficit of 0.5 billion kwacha in December of 2022 compared to a trade surplus of 2.8 billion in November of 2022. Export, mainly comprising domestically produced goods, decreased by 9.2% to 14.7 billion kwacha in December of 2022 from 16.2 billion kwacha in November of 2022. Produce Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching the main news on Camnet TV. Just now we'll take our first set of commercials. When we get back, we have more local stories to join us after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum Products for that perfect skin.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana. Banga kubunkireni dad.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You've heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Now, the Ministry of Health has recorded 4 cases of cholera in Vubu district in the Eastern Province. Minister of Health Sylvia Masibu has confirmed the development during a press briefing this evening. Meanwhile, the minister has disclosed that the country has recorded 1 death.
I wish to inform the nation that we have received an alert indicating a cholera outbreak in Vubu district of Eastern Province. This alert came to us since 22nd of January 2023. Vubu district has confirmed 4 cases, and we are investigating another 7 suspected cases. Sadly, we have recorded 1 death from there. The areas affected are villages within Chikoma, Mpande, Chipanje, and the Zigawa Rural Health Center. The Zigawa Rural Health Center catchment areas. The district rapid response teams, supported by the Provincial Health Office, are urgently responding to try and control and break transmission of cholera in the affected area. I wish to say that Zambia remains at risk of similar outbreaks beyond the currently affected district, considering the ongoing cholera outbreak in neighboring countries that started in March of 2022, last year. The continued movement of our population across the borders for various reasons, including trade and other social reasons, has increased this risk. And if you feel unwell, please visit the nearest healthcare facility immediately, particularly if you experience symptoms of watery diarrhea. While most of those infected may have mild symptoms, mild symptoms of watery diarrhea, and this can still be treated with oral rehydration solution. Severe cases will need rapid treatment with intravenous fluids and antibiotics.
Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry Chipoka Mlenga says government has re-echoed government directive to the Food Reserve Agency to release in excess of 200,000 plus metric tons of maize to the millers, and they should have access to the maize at 4 kwacha per kg. Addressing the media Thursday, Mr. Mlenga reassured the nation that there are sufficient stocks of maize. He says that government has taken keen interest and full responsibility to ensure that it mitigates the burden and the challenges citizens are facing on the accessibility and affordability of mielie meal. Mr. Mlenga adds that by next week, mielie meal will be available and affordable.
His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia has given strict directives that myself, Ministry of Agriculture and other colleagues through the civil service and government wings will work together to not only find the solution to the problem, but make sure that mielie meal is not only available, but the price is also affordable to the market. And I must assure the nation with a lot of comfort, but bear with us for the same past 1 week and a few days ahead of us, that the mielie meal will be very much available and accessible. As you may have observed that even in many chain stores, the prices it's not only available, but have started coming down. But it is important that we alert and advise the nation on what brought us to where we are today, of the challenge of the commodity being accessible and available. As you may be aware, we have a liberalized economy, where markets, we do not move in as government to dictate who sells what to who and at what price. But definitely we have a responsibility to provide fundamentals which govern how commodities must be provided. And my ministry is ultimately responsible for such undertakings.
The Economic and Financial Crime Court has dismissed the application by former Kabushi Member of Parliament Boma Lusambo, which was asking the court to grant him permission to cite an investigations officer at Anti-Corruption Commission with defector after he failed to answer questions during cross-examination. Mr. Lusambo, who is charged with interfering with witnesses, made the application last week through his lawyer, Makebi Zulu. The court, in its ruling, dismissed the application on the basis that the witness answered all questions that were put to him by the defense team. More in this report.
An application by Lusaka lawyer Makebi Zulu requesting the court to grant him permission to cite an investigations officer at Anti-Corruption Commission with defector after he failed to answer questions during cross-examination has been dismissed. The court Thursday dismissed the application on the basis that the witness answered all questions that were put to him by the defense team. This is in a case in which Boma Lusambo, the former Kabushi area member of parliament, is alleged to have interfered with state witnesses in a matter that he is facing before a different court. The former lawmaker has been charged with 3 counts of attempting to interfere with witnesses. Earlier, ACC prosecutor Daniel Ngwira argued that there was no basis on which the state witness on stand would be declared defector, as the law is instructive as to who a defector witness is and the circumstance under which such an application can be made. Last week, Counsel Zulu is representing Mr. Lusambo. In this case, was prompted to make an application that would cite the witness on stand as defector after the witness responded that he could not remember if Mr. Lusambo's interaction with the witnesses prevented them from testifying. Allegations in the first to the 3rd count, Mr. Lusambo is alleged to have on the 1st of February and the 30th of April 2022 prevented Kapula Chalusa, Ernest Sumani and Mundia Mata to give evidence as witness before a court of law. After the court's ruling this morning, the state applied for an adjournment as they were not ready to proceed into trial. The matter stands adjourned to the 7th of February. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
A surgical doctor from the University Teaching Hospital has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that Judiciary Officer Precious Nkunika, who is accused of stealing a baby at UTH, gave birth to a 1 kg female infant. When the matter came up for continued trial, Dr. Chisha Chilema narrated the accused was taken to UTH on the 29th of April 2022 in a critical condition and gave birth through an operation. This is in a matter in which Ms. Nkunika is jointly charged with 4 UTH employees and accused of stealing a child after her baby died. More in this report.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court Thursday morning held that Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer who is accused of stealing a baby from the University Teaching Hospital, gave birth to a female infant weighing 1 kg. A medical doctor who is said to have operated on the accused when she was taken to deliver at UTH narrated before court that the accused was brought in on the 29th of April 2022 in a critical condition. Dr. Chisha Chilima testified that the accused gave birth to a premature female infant through an operation that lasted 57 minutes. According to Dr. Chilima, chances for a baby weighing 1 kg are very low to survive. However, he could not confirm if the accused baby died later after, as he last saw them when he conducted the said operation. Precious Nkunika, 28, a stores officer at the judiciary, Nelly Kasolo, 41, and Emily Hope, both nutritional demonstrator at the University Teaching Hospital, Rebecca Mkandawire, 42, a maid at UTH, and Grace Siska are charged with stealing and harboring a child contrary to the laws of Zambia. They are alleged to have jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown with intent to deprive Elina Lungu as a parent with lawful care or charge of the said baby. According to a statement that the police had issued before the case was taken to court, it is said that 2 weeks after Miss Precious Nkunika, the judiciary officer delivered but unfortunately lost a child. A theft was staged to compensate for her loss. It is alleged that it was at this stage she was allegedly assisted to steal the said baby. The matter continues on the 27th of January 2023. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We take our last set of commercials. When we get back, we have the rest of the stories.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news. In international news, Donald Trump will be allowed back on to Facebook and Instagram after Meta announced it would be ending its 2-year suspension of his accounts. The then U.S. president was indefinitely suspended from Meta's platform after the Capitol riots in 2021, as his posts were judged to pose a risk to public safety. Republicans have been pressing for Mr. Trump to be allowed back on Facebook as he prepares to run for the U.S. presidency again next year. But the former president has an exclusivity agreement with social media platform Truth Social, and there is some suggestion that posting elsewhere could open him up to legal problems. Here's a roundup of international news.
In Congo's capital, Kinshasa, the faithful are flocking to impromptu market stores and churchyards to buy T-shirts and wax tissues adorned with the image of Pope Francis ahead of the pontiff's visit. Paper souvenirs have become hot-selling items ahead of the 4-day trip, which begins on January 31st. I must wear the effigy of the Pope because it comes with a big blessing. I bought this calendar. I'm happy to have the Pope's effigy at home. It is a great blessing for me and my children. Many in Congo view the papal visit as a chance to soothe tensions in the east, where M23 rebels have waged a new insurgency since last year and provoked a humanitarian crisis. I expect from the Pope a message of peace, because recently the DRC is tormented here and there. Certainly, given the situation of the country, we dare believe that the Pope will bring us a good message and with a lasting peace. Pope Francis was scheduled to arrive in the DRC last July, but the trip was postponed over health concerns. His visit marks the first papal trip to the country since Pope John Paul II visited in 1985.
The attack on Congress when supporters of Donald Trump tried to stop the certification of Joe Biden's election victory. While it was going on, the then president posted a video on Facebook and Instagram expressing his support for the rioters. And then in another post, he repeated false claims about fraudulent voting during the 2020 election. Initially, he was banned from the platforms indefinitely. Facebook later said it would review its decision after 2 years.
If I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly.
Ever since Donald Trump announced he was running for the White House again, there's been growing pressure on Meta from the former president's supporters to reinstate the Facebook and Instagram accounts where he had more than 50 million followers. Meta's Nick Clegg said a review had found that Mr. Trump's accounts no longer represented a serious risk to public safety and that he would be allowed to return in the coming weeks. We've put new guardrails in place to deter repeat offences. The public should be able to hear what politicians are saying so they can make informed choices. The former president's response was typically bullish. Facebook, which has lost billions of dollars in value since deplatforming your favourite president, me, has just announced that they are reinstating my account. Such a thing should never again happen to a sitting president or anybody else who is not deserving of retribution.
What this means is that by giving Donald Trump access to the largest social media platform in the world, he has the most access that he's had since before January 6th for calls to action. And this is just simply a risky move.
But will Donald Trump actually return to Facebook or Instagram? Even though he's been allowed back on Twitter by Elon Musk, the former president hasn't posted anything there yet. In the coming months, the race to become the Republican nominee to fight the 2024 election will intensify. And given the reach and power of Meta's social networks, the platforms could prove irresistible. Peter Bowes, BBC News, Los Angeles.
That's all in our international news. Time now for sports. The Football Association of Zambia FAS and their Nigerian counterparts have rescheduled their two friendly matches involving their under-20 sides to February 3rd and 6th respectively. Zambia and Nigeria were scheduled to square off on January 27 and 30th in warm-up matches ahead of the Total Energies Egypt 2023 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. The Under-20 squad will proceed to Dakar to face Senegal on 9 February 2023 for another international friendly before flying to Egypt the next day. Prior to departure for Abuja, the Zambia squad has been undergoing their CAF-prescribed pre-tournament formalities in liaison with the Egyptian embassy in Lusaka. The squad will fly directly to Alexandria from Dakar after playing their final friendly match. Meanwhile, the Zambia senior women's national team will take part in the Turkish Women's Cup to be held from 13th to 22nd of February 2023 in the resort town of Alanya, Turkey. The four-team tournament has attracted participation from host Turkey, Slovenia, and the Copper Queens, who will be using the contest to prepare for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup to be co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand in July. Coach Bruce Mwape is expected to name a strong squad that comprises of local and foreign-based players for the tournament. FA's General Secretary Adrian Kashala says the association had prioritized preparations for teams participating in international tournaments. This is according to a statement issued by Football Association of Zambia Communications Manager Sydney Mongala. And on that sporting item, we come to the end of the main news this evening. But before we go, let's look at some of the top stories that made the news. The BUSOLI royal establishment in a land contestation with the Zambia army. MUMBWA man break into a woman's house with rape intentions. Zambia confirms 1 cholera death. In our international headlines, Donald Trump allowed back on Facebook and Instagram. And finally, in sports, Copper Queens to participate in Turkish Cup next month. We now look at the Camnet verse for today, coming from Acts 4 verse 31. After they prayed, the place where they were meeting was shaken, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and spoke the word of God boldly. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisiana Lupumbo. It's bye for now. God bless and enjoy the rest of our programmings on Camnet TV. Good night.